Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. Andrew here, and today I thought it'd be fun to show you how to write in a new mode that I haven't talked about. Musical mode is basically a scale, pattern, if you will. Most modes that we're familiar with as musicians, you may have played a minor scale or a major scale. You may have heard of a major chord or a minor chord, and those are actually two musical modes. Let's go ahead into Logic, and I'll show you what I mean. So if I were to chart out from C to C on our piano roll, this would be C major. Now, this is also called, so I'm going to write, so there is C to C. So that's a C major scale. Now, another way of saying major is Ionian. That's the major mode. Now, if I just keep writing white keys in, let me show you the various musical modes. So once again, if I start on the first note of a major scale, we call this major. This would also be called C Ionian. Now, if I were to play from D to D, like this, that would be called D Dorian. If I went from E, this would be E Phrygian. If I went from F, this would be F Lydian. All right, so let's get rid of all of that. If you write F to F on the piano, you have F Lydian. Now, the way this varies from a major scale, F major would have a B flat in it, so this fourth scale degree would be lowered. So some people, when you come across Lydian, they will say it's the fourth scale degree raised. That's relative to a major scale. So if we were to want to write C Lydian, C, D, E, F, we would have an F sharp in the key of C. All right, cool. So here's F Lydian. All right, let's write a chord progression. Now, chord progressions in the key of F Lydian aren't going to be that different than the key of F major. Our one chord's in F major. Let's put that up an octave. Let's go to an A minor chord. A D minor chord. All right, cool. Only using white keys. Our melody is really going to give us a sense of the Lydian. So a song that's really famous and is kind of the reason I'm doing this video is Stay, Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. And that song is in a Lydian mode as well. So to write a melody in any key, we're usually going to either start or end on the note of our key. So in this case, in F, we're going to definitely want to use the B instead of the B flat. That's going to give us that Lydian sound. All right, let's write a little pattern here. is slightly off. So a couple things, not super really that sophisticated. Basically doing F, B, C, A, and then B, C, D, A. Repeat of the first part. F, B, C, A. And then our final phrase, we're going D, C, B, C. That sounds like this. All right, let's chart this out into something a little bit more interesting. So let's grab our bass line. Let's put it on some eighth notes. Let's grab something else. Let's use our amped synth lead. Let's grab another instrument for our top line. Add some simple drums in there. Let's use Logic's 808. fill in our hi-hat pattern a little bit. All right, let's hear it from the beginning. Nice. Let's add a bass instrument in here. We can just keep it to the Logic instruments. All right. So if I take the chord progression, we could definitely take just the low notes from the chords. Let's add some variation at the end. Something like this. All right, cool. So nothing really that complicated, but that's kind of like was my point of doing this video. The modes seem so complicated, and like it seems like it's impossible to start thinking about those. But if you feel like competent in writing even just a simple major scale, it's important to remember that when you're writing to a major scale, it is writing to a mode already. So when you think about writing to another mode, it's not really anything different than the major scale. Now, it's important to note that writing in the mode is going to sound different, or writing in another mode other than Ionian or Aeolian, major or minor, is going to sound different. But that's kind of the point. Again, we can write a lot of music. It sounds a little bit quirky using the modes. So going back into this Lydian beat, it feels sort of like F major, but there's something kind of weird about it. And that weird part is purely from that one note that's changed. Instead of a B, it's that, instead of the B flat, it's that B natural. Now, just for fun, if I took this melody and I took all of these B notes and I changed them to B flat, if we just play the beginning part, let's see, the one, I'm going to just mute that B. This is going to feel like F major. All right, so that's F major. If we take that one B and we move it back up to, instead of B flat, to B natural, we get that F Lydian sound. And it's really that simple. So let's finish it out just playing this instrumental we wrote super briefly. Here is our beat in F Lydian. Here it goes. Awesome. I'm going to leave you with that. If you found this helpful, you would help me out a ton by subscribing to the channel. If you're learning about the modes, feel free to leave some questions in the comments. Once again, when you hear the word Lydian or Mixolydian or Locrian, these modal names, they sound really strange. That's actually because they come from the Greek language, where a lot of our music terms like adagio come from Italian. Besides that, it's really just talking about patterns of notes that we as composers use to write music. The most common patterns that we've used are that Ionian and Aeolian, which again we call major and minor. Today was F Lydian. That is basically a major scale, except the fourth scale degree is raised. Found that helpful? It helped me out a ton by subscribing to the channel. Have a wonderful week. Keep making music, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.